London, 1825. The royal palace was full of secrets. People didn't shout them in the streets. They whispered them in fancy rooms, behind heavy curtains, and in long hallways. King George IV was now the ruler of Britain, but many said he cared more about clothes and parties than about the country. One of the most powerful people in the palace was not a king, nor a minister, but a woman, Lady Elizabeth Conyngham. She was the king's favorite. She wasn't single, but that didn't matter. Everyone who wanted to talk to the king had to go through her first. She helped decide who got jobs, who got land, and who got nothing. Some people said she made secret deals. Others feared her. She smiled often, but her smile didn't always mean kindness. The king trusted her more than anyone, but one day he received a letter that changed everything. The letter said that someone close to him was planning to betray him. The writer didn't say who they were. The king got angry and called Lord Sidmouth, his home secretary. "Someone is lying to me," he said. "Find out who." Sidmouth began asking quiet questions. He looked at the king's family, friends, and servants. Lady Conyngham had many enemies, especially Lady Hertford, the king's former mistress. Some believed Lady Hertford was trying to win the king's heart again, and maybe his power. The Duke of Wellington, the great war hero, also stayed away from the king's parties. He didn't like how the king spent money. Parliament was also angry. Taxes were high, and the royal court spent more and more every year. In the middle of all this was a young servant named James Ellery. He brought food and letters to important people and heard things he was not supposed to hear. He saw secret messages delivered to Lady Conyngham and noticed that some people entered the palace without names in the guest book. One evening, Ellery was walking past the king's study. He heard shouting. The king's brother, the Duke of York, was inside. "You let her control everything," York shouted. "You are the king, not her." Then he stormed out. The king sat alone, breathing hard. Something was clearly wrong. Across London, a man named Nathaniel Parnham was writing a book. He used to work for Lady Hertford, but now he collected secrets. His book was full of dangerous information, stories about the king's love affairs, money problems, and even missing servants. He knew that if the book was printed, the whole country would read it. But Parnham didn't want fame. He wanted power. He showed the book to a member of Parliament and said, "Use this. Tell the king to behave, or I'll print everything." Back at the palace, Lady Conyngham heard rumors about the book. She was afraid. She sent men to search Parnham's home, but the book was already gone. Someone else had it now. At the same time, Ellery, the servant, had his own plan. For months, he had copied letters and sold them to a foreign spy. This spy once worked for France and now traded secrets for gold. One of the letters had the king's personal handwriting. That kind of letter could be used to embarrass Britain in front of other countries. Then, one morning, Ellery disappeared. He didn't pack his things. He didn't tell anyone. His bed was empty, and on his table was a sealed letter. Inside was a list of names, meetings, and payments. When the king's men saw it, they panicked. They searched the river, but no body was found. No one knew if Ellery had run away or if someone had silenced him. Weeks later, Lady Conyngham became ill. Some said it was a natural sickness. Others believed she had been poisoned. Her son demanded an investigation, but the king said no. She quietly left the palace and never returned. Now the king sat alone for long hours. He stopped looking at his favorite portrait. He said the eyes followed him. And still, the palace whispered. Who wrote the warning letter? What happened to Ellery? Where was Parnham's book? And why did Lady Conyngham leave so suddenly? No one knew for sure, but the stories never stopped. Not at George Ford's court, not in a palace full of secrets.